believe that we started recording right in the middle of 2020 with all of the COVID and lockdowns going on around us, unable to meet up. So like many a young gentleman, we turned to the internet for our entertainment. Tried to find a place where we could meet up and talk about the good, the bad, and that time that Stu saw a pelican on the canal. In order to facilitate our dreams of answering all of the big questions in film, and after a few attempts at recording via other methods to various levels of success, we found Zencastr, a super easy web-based one-stop shop for recording. Log in and you're ready to record in a matter of seconds. It doesn't take a tech genius to get high-quality audio or video. And on top of that, the one time we have had an issue, the fact that the multi-layered backups are stored locally means it's easily fixed all in browser. There are plenty of tools you need when you start podcasting, so let Zencastr take that headache away as it offers a place to record, edit and distribute all from one website. Any lazy bones Jones can pick up and play and have studio quality audio or 4K video put out for the world to see when using Zencastr. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code CAGEFIGHTING and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. We want you to have the same easy experiences we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. And now, hit the music.
I feel the need for speed.
Hello and welcome to Cage Fighting. It's your main man, Andy Gillard here. Hope everybody's doing well. Is it still cage fighting or is it like, are we cage fighting cruise control? Like, I don't even know how we should be presenting it anymore because it's a bit of both, isn't it?
Maybe like, hello everyone. How IGN doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah.
And hasn't for like 20 years. Maybe we should just be CFCC. Maybe that's what we should be called.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. And then like, when we finally are done with cruise, we'll just have to find something else that fits that pattern and we can vaguely allude to it. That might be a way forward, hadn't it?
If you say, welcome to CFCC, it's like, yeah, well... Like how they've branded the Six Nations as the M6N.
Oh, wow, okay. That feels too modern.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I like that.
Apparently they did it for last year as well. No one cares. Other than the brown shoes. Obviously, they live in their own little brown shoe jeans world. No. I used to like rugby as well. I used to watch it quite a lot. It's just... I mean, to say rugby's gone woke, I mean, that just kind of says it all. But we don't need to differentiate between men's and women's Six Nations rugby. We just don't need to. We all know. And when they start,
I didn't even realise there was a women's Six Nations, to be honest. It's been so long since I've paid any attention to that sport.
Exactly. No one cares. Like, if you do, then fair enough. But you're not going to get people watching it by changing the name like that. It just doesn't work like that. Not in this country, anyway. But yeah, I think it wasn't last year because I would have known the name change then, but I think it was the year before when I started watching. I tried to watch it, and it's almost like non-contact at certain points. It's rugby. It's like, this doesn't make any sense.
Okay. Is it like concussion protocols and stuff? Because obviously, like watching American football, we're very used to not non-contact, but contact being a lot more of a thing than what it is in rugby, which almost anything could fly in rugby, but now it's not quite the same, is it?
No, and you got TMO as well, which catches everything, so they've got to be a bit more clever with the biting of ears and stuff. But yeah, it just seems a bit too watered down compared to what it used to be. And I only played rugby like in PE. We never played as a school or anything, and I wasn't beaten up as a child playing it properly. So yeah, fuck rugby. Who cares?
It's rubbish, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the title of this is NTV, so that's quite clever. I wonder if Netflix could have gone with that, or they would have been sued to hell.
I mean, obviously MTV could, copyright themselves, or would it be music television that they copyright? Because can you copyright 3 letters? Well, then again, I suppose WWF did, and that's why the Fed had to change to WWE, maybe. I don't know.
I was thinking more of the segment on Noel's House Party, really.
I doubt Nolly copyrighted NTV, but who knows?
Again, a niche teenagers reference.
Very, Very. Stu, the running order for this week. I've got a few questions to start us off. We're going to be doing our Netflix original series top fives. We've got the short film review, which is 2018 stop motion heartbreaker, Lost and Found. And then we go into second gear, watching Tom Cruise's second movie, 1981's Taps. To start us off then, so Matt asked the other day in the group chat, and I thought it was a good question, and we need to bring it onto the pod. With how bad the ending of Game of Thrones goes, is it worth a rewatch? Basically, is knowing that the destination is a shithole worth the journey anymore?
I mean, my initial thought was yes, because 95% of that is excellent. Mm-hmm. But then I go against my own words and say, do I want to watch Next again? We haven't got a Tom Cruise equivalent of Next yet. I'm sure we will have one.
Yeah.
We might even have one today. Who knows? But yeah, I think with that, in that case, because it is so epic and bombastic and stuff like that, then I think things like that are the exception to that rule. That there's no point getting all wound up again by a bad ending if there's no fun along the way. I think if you're going for something like, I don't know, like The Royal or something like that, or Bridgerton, or since we're on Netflix, if the ending of that turns out to be awful and it's just a period drama and there's no real spectacle, then I think there's no point really. I'm trying to think of like bad films or bad series where that counts, that I would do that again. Because
this is it. Because, like, obviously, as you know, Scrubs is one of my all-time favourite shows. And season 8 ends with probably the most perfect ending of anything ever. And then they did Scrubs Interns, which was actually season 9. It wasn't, separate to it. And it comes back and it was a mess and it didn't work and it didn't really end properly. It was just the end of a normal season. So I've got a jumping off point. I can get to season 8, stop there because the stories are all ended and it's perfect. I know it's coming back very soon and I'm quite excited, but I've got that ending perfectly for the original run of things. I don't know that Game of Thrones has got a jumping off point.
No, there isn't one.
Like, you have to see it through to the bitter end. And I'm okay with that last season, all bar probably the last episode. I don't think there's anything like criminally shit in season 8 until you get to like the meeting in Dawn or wherever it is, where you got all the families together and it goes to, I was going to say Will the Wise, but that's Stranger Things. The kid in the wheelchair whose name escapes me at the moment. Bran, that's the one. Like, that's where it just sort of falls off a cliff, and that last episode is such a mess that it's terrible. But I think there is so much good throughout the rest of that show that, like you said, 95%, I think you'd even go higher than that. Like, it is a very, very good show until it isn't.
I mean, I could think of one, if you switch codes. I mean, you could, so the 90s, 89 to 90s Batman quadrilogy. If you want to watch them all, you know that you end up with Batman and Robin after starting with Batman, which I know you don't like, but still, it's a very different tone that it ends with what it starts with. But I've really got a hankering to watching Batman and Robin again. I don't know why. It's been so long since I've seen it, and like, you see the clips and things come up all the time. And I was so close to buying the animated series and the 66 film series on Blu-ray the other day. Because they were both there in the offer bin. I thought, oh, shall I? And I controlled myself. I thought, that's not going to sell out. It's been out for a while.
No,
it's still been sold out. But if you go to games, like my favourite game of all time, Uncharted 2, one of the top 5, depending, Mario World, whatever. Uncharted 2, superb, love it. The final boss is a series of QuickTime events. It's button presses. Okay. There's no skill at all. It's just timing when the icons come on screen, and it's like it's. I mean, you had your chance. It's 13 years old. It's basically it's like a Scooby-Doo villain. Look, they weren't actually things in the ice. They were people with masks on, and it's like, really. And it goes down this supernatural path. and it's more like kind of hedonistic kind of fruits and things rather than supernatural, which is fine. The game is amazing, but that ending is so bad. It's the worst of all 6 of them. So would I play it again? Obviously, I would play it again because it counts, because it's an exceptional game. But knowing that coming up is not the best part of it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think a game as well is quite it's quite intensive, isn't it? Because you're having to do the heavy lifting and you're having to like literally be involved in it. Whereas I think if you're watching a TV show, you can sort of drift in and out of it a little bit and let do the work for you almost. So I think if it was in game terms, I'm not sure I'd want to go back and revisit a game knowing that the ending is so underwhelming.
No, and I mean, even at the time, like, when I finished it, I thought, what the fuck was that? And obviously you know how good the ending of the film was with the pirate ship in the like, it's the opposite of that. Like,
okay.
It's like the worst. It is the worst of all of them. And like the third one's probably got a better game. But I just preferred the second because they came in quite close to each other. But yeah, especially when you're committing like 16, 17 hours to something that you don't want to be then pissed off in the last 30 minutes, which is all that necessarily for it is.
Yeah. Fairs. The next question that I've got for you, Stu, I've seen quite a lot of comments in regards to Vince Gilligan's recent comments on Pluribus. He said that the writers are plugging away, but it won't be returning anytime soon. He also said that it won't be coming back every year. A lot of folks are very annoyed having to wait 2 years between seasons now, when we're kind of used to getting 20 plus episode seasons being released every year. So what are your feelings on shows taking longer, like especially the prestige A+++ TV shows? Like gone are the days that we would get a season of 24 every year. And admittedly, like, I think you'd find there's more writers back on those kind of shows where you're going to get multiple episodes. Like the X-Files, for example. I mean, that's Vince Gilligan as well. We used to get 20 to 25 episodes a year, but it wasn't just on Vince Gilligan in the way that Pluribus is very much him front and centre with a few others like dipping in with him. So how do you feel about having to wait 2 years between seasons?
How many was it? It was at 8, wasn't it? Pluribus.
Yes, I think it was.
For something like that, if you're going to wait 2 years, you can catch up in 2 weeks. So I don't really have a problem with it. It's a bit like The Bear. Well, I know we get The Bear every year, so it's kind of irrelevant. But something like that, because it's so condensed and they're only 30-minute episodes, I don't really have a problem with it, even if it did go away, because you can just catch up anyway. If you're going for something like in the old style of 20 to 24 episodes, then you're waiting 2 years, and then you're coming back and expecting people to be on the ball. I think that's a bit of a piss take. I think you're asking a bit too much. But when it's like this, and when, prime example, The Night Manager, 10 years it's been away.
Has it really been that long?
It was 2016. So when we were talking about it in the pub a couple of weeks ago, I remember talking about The Night Manager. I don't think it was we wasn't doing this 10 years ago. But me and my brother definitely talked about it between ourselves at the time, because it's spy shit and it's low-key and all that kind of thing. And it is probably one of the best TV shows ever that no one talks about. It's on iPlayer, it's on Prime, anywhere in the world can see it. And I couldn't remember a single thing about it. So I watched it again in the last week. Again, 6 episodes. Perfect. The BBC way. And yet they do a good job of recapping that as well, even because it has been so long. And I've only seen the first episode of the new run because I was just waiting a bit. But they do a good job with it. So I think I don't really have an issue with it if there's enough time to catch up. If you're asking too much of people, then it's taking a piss a bit. And the other caveat, obviously, kids, because you end up like with a Walt situation. You end up with what happened on Stranger Things, although not through their own fault. If it's kids, you need to film them quickly, otherwise it's unbelievable.
Yeah, that is a good point. I don't really have too much of an issue with it, to be honest. I like, we watch a lot of films. You don't get sequels every year. They're every 2 to 3 years usually. So realistically, I think we're kind of trained to expect it every 2 years. And as you say, there are plenty of resources out there that if you need an hour-long deep dive, YouTube's there to bring you up to speed if you don't have time to rewatch all 8 episodes of a series. Yeah. If it was, as you say, 24 episodes, then I think that's a bit different, but that's not the world we live in. And I'd rather them take a bit of time and get it set up and perfect. Like, I kind of feel like I wish Game of Thrones had done a bit more of that between when it ended and when House of the Dragons kicked off. And I kind of wish we'd had a longer break in between seasons on Dragons as well, because I don't feel like we've had a break from that world, and I was ready for a break. And obviously now we've got that other series, the Night one, which I can't even remember the full title of it. Have you watched that one yet, Stu?
No.
Are you going to bother? No, I don't think I am, to be honest. I mean, I feel like I'm kind of done with it, and I'm not even interested in Dragons, even though I've seen the first 2 seasons.
And you look like you do. But I mean, I liked House of Dragons season 1, but again, I needed to watch that again because the amount of the time jumping in that series was insane.
Mm-hmm. Did make it difficult.
10 episodes, it went about over 30 years with multiple versions of the same character played by different people. So to kind of expect that to happen, to remember all of that, then go into season 2, that was a bit much. But I don't think, was that 1 year or was it 2 years? I don't know.
1 year between that, I think, if I remember correctly.
So, and for something like that, where I knew that I'd have to catch up and I just didn't, I thought, well, it's gone now. There's too many other things to watch.
Yeah, that's fair. Whilst we're speaking of prestige dramas, then the last question that I've got for us to discuss: are they too long for their own good? So many 8 to 10 episode seasons feel like 5 brilliant episodes padded out with vibes and drone shots to try and pad it out. Should more shows embrace the 4 episode miniseries format? That's a couple of examples, Stu. I've got The Night Of, which was a brilliant HBO series. But in the middle, it got a little bit bogged down in prison subplots and stuff that it didn't need. True Detective Night Country. I mean, we both really enjoyed it at the start, and it just got kind of muddled and fell over itself through the middle. Handmaid's Tale. I really enjoyed Handmaid's Tale, but again, they started repeating storylines during the middle of the run of it. The Haunting of Bly Manor as well, apparently, is another one. That's not one I've seen, but that's one I've seen a lot of criticism of, that again, it was probably 50% longer than it needed to be. So, yeah, just a few examples. So, should they be looking at doing more short form, 4 or 5 episodes, tell a brilliant story rather than a brilliant story with a couple of duff episodes in there?
I mean, that was the kind of promise, wasn't it? Especially in the streaming world, which everyone, even BBC and ITV is streaming now, because especially with that new box thing that's come out to replace Freeview. The promise was there that, we'll do as many episodes as we need to tell a story. It doesn't need to be 42 minutes long with ad break support. It can be 50 minutes, it can be 108, doesn't matter. And yet it still is round about an hour. I don't think it needs to be. It should just be as long as it needs to be to tell the story properly. Mm-hmm. There's no, especially with the sheer amount of stuff to do, stuff to watch, stuff to play, stuff to listen to, stuff to read. There's no time. Things are better if they're shorter, mostly. So, in the days of we need filler, we need to have Monster of the Week episodes in X-Files. There's no need for it anymore because there's other things to occupy ourselves with, and. Well, how many times have we said it, especially about Netflix true crime dramas that are even 3 parts where there could have been 90 minutes?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of. There's that one which is set in the hotel that they're dragged out to. I'm sure it was 3 episodes. I can't remember what it was called.
Oh yeah, the one in
the Asian girl who was found in the tank on top of the hotel.
Yeah.
And it was
in LA.
Yeah. It was a decent 45-minute episode. Yes, that's the one.
Cecil Hotel.
It would have been a good 45-minute short documentary, like an episode of what's that one, Panorama or something. That would have been fine as an episode of that. And then they dragged it out to 3 episodes, and it didn't need it. I kind of feel like going back to The Bear's the one that kind of proves what you need, because we get seasons of like 10 episodes in a season. And within that, we've had 22-minute episodes and we've had an hour and 10-minute episodes. And they've just, every episode I've filled within the Bear is solid. Like it's fucking oak tree. It's there. It holds everything together. If they'd then pulled that out and did 15, 20 episodes, then we'd be in trouble, I think. So the Bear is the one I think that sort of supports having exactly what you need and not more. Like a good editor can whip anything into shape, and a bad editor just lets it get flabby and out of shape. And I feel like a lot of them is less is more is not how they think. More is more. And that's what they want. And that's not always what the viewer wants.
It'll be interesting to see if there is like a specific episode order or a minutes total in these new contracts. Just because that'd be the only thing that makes any sense why they keep doing it.
It would not surprise me at all if that was the case, because I think a lot of streaming companies want that. They want people, well, they don't even give a shit if you watch. They just want people with it on in the background at the very least. And the longer it is, the more time you're on their product, the more adverts they can sell or whatever it might be in this case. So that wouldn't surprise me at all. Yeah. Right. Okay. We're going to do our top 5 Netflix original TV series. Right, Stu, like we've always done, we'll go back and forth. I think you said we've only got one clash, so I'll skip over my clash when we get to it, and we'll discuss it when we get to it on yours. I'll start us off. My first one, my number 5, is Glow, which is a wonderful comedy drama that just manages to balance camp and colour with genuine emotional depth, but it never tips over into like a schmaltzy world. It's got this wonderful ensemble cast, like Kate Nash is in there, Alison Brie, Betty Gilpin. I love Community, but I think Glow might be Alison Brie's career best work. I think she's fantastic in it. Obviously, as a wrestling fan, this felt like it was one of the first times that wrestling was given more than being the butt of a joke. It felt like they treated it with a bit of reverence, and I kind of dug that. I thought it was great. The only reason that it's 5 and not higher for me is because fuck Netflix. They cancelled it after the 4 seasons. They were supposed to be doing the 5th, the pandemic hit, and they just pulled the plug on it. Like, at least give it a movie to give us that final hurrah. And it sort of ends in this point where it doesn't need a lot more to push it over into completion. So that's the reason it's not higher for me, because I absolutely loved that show. It was sort of everything that I want in a comedy drama.
Yeah, and that's why I do. With wrestling stuff, obviously, it's not my number one thing. Even though I will watch wrestling-related stuff now and again, films and TV shows. But this one, it looked fun. And obviously, who it's made by, ticks all the boxes there. But like I was saying 10 minutes ago, never got round to it in the first place. Comes to season 2. Was it already cancelled before it aired as well? Was that one of them kind of things? No.
So it got 4 seasons. The 5th season was greenlit, and then the pandemic hit, and they pulled it like a couple of months into the pandemic. There was a few shows like that, like I'm Sorry, which was this brilliant sitcom, a bit like Curb Your Enthusiasm. They filmed a couple of episodes, and like they got quite deep into the writing, like they did with Glow. And then they just pulled it because of the uncertainty around it. It was a real shame.
Yeah, it's annoying. Because again, you can't really go back. Like we were talking about earlier, you can't go and watch something that didn't have an ending now. But that would be silly.
That's the annoyance.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's why it couldn't get any higher for me, unfortunately. There wasn't a proper sign-off. What's your 5?
I mean, it kind of wraps everything that we've been talking about up perfectly. House of Cards. The first one that made people sit up and take notice of Netflix as a serious thing. Orange is the New Black obviously was there. It wasn't really my thing, but House of Cards, casting Robin Wright, Kevin Spacey at that time, thinking proper A-tier actors, serious drama, based around serious things, to have the production value that it did. I don't care about politics stuff like that deeply. I never got into West Wing, all a bit dull. So to be watching this and be absolutely transfixed by it, I was shocked. And it was one of them things where I looked forward to it, like the new season coming out, and I wouldn't be doing the thing where I watch 2 in one go. I'd watch as many as possible. So I'd watch 3 and then 4 maybe of certain seasons. Obviously, I talked about it a few weeks ago as well, how it ended in a kind of wrap-up way. So you take, is it worth going back and watching it without that final season? Yes. How they wrapped it up was ridiculous. Didn't make any sense at all. If they could go back and redo it in a Dallas, like, oh yeah, it was all her dream, which actually be pretty cool, actually, knowing how the characters went through it, the whole storyline. But the first few seasons of that was epic TV that just happened to be on Netflix.
I don't know why I never watched it, because I quite like political intrigue stories. I also like political comedies, like The Thick of It's one of my favourites.
Yeah,
and it kind of feels like it would be a really good series. And as you say, I don't know if it was the first, but it certainly feels like it was the first. And getting someone of the calibre of Spacey in, who was riding high as fuck at that point in his career, that's a real get. And I think it was one of those, I always wanted to watch it, but the more it went on, the more it felt like there's too much to catch up on now. I think it may have been that. My number 4 then. Netflix is so good, or can be so good, at doing the true crime documentary. And the first one that I think I saw, and I still think is probably the best one, is one called The Keepers. Don't know if you've actually seen this one before, Stu. It's the one about there's a murder of a nun in this small town, and the only people who are keeping this investigation into it alive are just these 2 old biddies who are refusing to let the truth die. And it's such a compelling dive into this small, tiny little story that involves about half a dozen people. And it goes on for, I think it's 6 episodes long. But the intrigue is there throughout the whole thing. And they uncover stuff throughout the whole series that potentially may explode in the real world. I don't know what the follow-up has been since. It's something I kind of want to go back and revisit and then dive into what's happened in the real world after. It just has such an emotional weight to it, especially this final episode of it. It's up there with The Jinx in terms of blockbuster ending of a true crime series. It was excellent. It was such a good show. And they've done well with all the other ones, but for me, this is still the pinnacle of Netflix true crime.
I'm just looking at it now. I have never seen this before.
It's outstanding.
Straight to the top of the list. And it feels like what you just said about that then. The Keepers, 2017. Yeah.
Is it really that old? Jeez.
Yeah, 2017. Again, 7 parts. No way. Yeah, I've never even heard of it. And you look at it, it looks like a 1970s textbook. The little thumbnail on Netflix. Terrible.
It's a 1970s crime.
That makes sense then.
Yeah. And it's based around a school, so like that's the link to it. But yeah.
Well, there we are then. That's perfect for that. It just doesn't look very inviting when you're looking at it on there. What the hell is this? They're like Sean Combs, The Reckoning.
I enjoyed that. We've said this before. The problem I think with Netflix is they just put out too much of these things. So the few that hit early doors, I think, stand up really well. But there's so many that have been on since that I just like the Cecil Hotel one. I couldn't even remember the name of it because it's just 1 in a billion of these things, and they don't get room to breathe, unfortunately. But the Sean Combs, the Diddy doc, is fucking tremendous.
So I've watched a couple of them now after you mentioned it a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't believe he was so. I can't really. He was so up himself to just have someone just filming him wandering around on his little bike around New York, shouting at people. What was that little finger sign for?
Not a clue. He's just off his rocker. That's the only way I can describe it. What's your number 4 then, Stu?
So, I didn't think we were putting documentaries on there, so I could have to. I think I'll stick with what I've got because I'll give it honourable mentions because there's one obvious one that took the world by storm, but it's does it work? We all know. Right, so my number 4 is Adolescence. Again, something that actually changed things for the better. Again, we've talked about it to death. Shone a light on stuff that was actually happening that you didn't realise.
Yeah.
Made a global superstar of its child actor. Cemented Stephen Graham as being excellent at everything. And gave Netflix actual kudos for taking a punt on it when it's very ambitious, considering what it is. Doing 4 episodes of Wanners is mental in itself. And the stuff with the drone, and when that one where it's attached and it goes up and above the skull and then carries on, just like, how do you even think of this stuff?
That's incredible. That is. That the video of how they did it is just unreal.
Because I didn't even like watching it. I didn't even think about it at the time. Like, you're so engrossed in it all. You think, well, there's obviously going to be some kind of like someone walks in front of it and there's your wipe. But to not do that at all and have like 16 read-throughs and 16 go-overs, and it didn't even need the technical things because it was excellent in its own right. It could have been two handheld cameras. That's all it needed. Yeah.
The writing is as good as anything I've seen in the last decade. I just think it was incredible TV.
Yeah, it had to be on the list, and it's only at 4 because it's new. So,
yeah, I think that was why I didn't put it on. In fairness, it was just that maybe it's that little bit too new to really have made that mark. I think if we do it in a few years' time, that's probably going to stand the test of time as much as anything else that we've seen from Netflix.
Yeah,
as you say, like that had like a real world impact, which I don't think you can say for many TV series in the modern day.
Like, it feels like it's going to be one of them things. Like, you know that series, like 7 Up, 14 Up.
Yes, yeah, the
like
documentary series.
Yeah, like that. Like, it feels like it's going to be in that kind of bracket, even though it's obviously scripted and not real life. Like how that documentary series that spanned their entire lives of them people involved. It's just one of them things that when it comes back, it's like, I mean, surely it's about time now for the next one.
I would have thought so. I can't remember when the last time was, in fairness. It does feel like it's been quite a while.
Let's have a look. 14 Up. Up series. Documentary. So it began in 1964. Jesus. So is it over? Are they dead now? I don't actually know.
Well, surely you'd think that, I can't remember how many people it filmed, but you'd think that at least one of them would have passed away in that time.
Oh, here we go. 70 Up to be released in 2026.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So obviously a new director because, yeah, time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it just makes sense that there's going to be tragedy as well as all of the love and wonderful things in there. It's not all going to be roses, but...
Oh, weird. So it was ITV from 1964 to 91. Then BBC One for 98. And then 2005 to 2019, back on ITV again.
Oh, right, okay. I don't know why I assumed it was BBC.
Yeah. Like, it feels BBC. So there's only 2 died, looking at this.
Okay. That might be worth a watch again, to be fair. Like, I obviously haven't seen all of them. I don't even know if all of them are even available, but I imagine it'd be quite an interesting look back, especially at this point.
They were all on BritBox, so you should be able to find it all.
Oh, okay.
So I watched them on there. When it was one of the things when BritBox came out, I went straight to it and watched it on there. Which one? I mean, we would have seen it from what?
Probably the
mid-90s?
91. Yeah. 91 may even be early because we'd have been like 8 at that point, which feels like probably a bit too soon.
Yeah, so 98 seems like the one that I would have watched and remembered.
Yeah. Do you remember the John's Not Mad documentary?
Oh, yes. Is that still on iPlayer?
I don't know. Because I saw the follow-up I think it was BBC. And then I was like, well, I need to see the original documentary now. And I found it was on Netflix of all places. That's incredible. And that's what they made that film last year, I swear, which was about, very much based on him and his rise up to helping other people with Tourette syndrome. And like the film was really good. Like it borders on being a little bit schmaltzy, a little bit too saccharine in parts, but it's like a proper good British film. It's worth a watch. That is actually, Stu, if you haven't got around to it yet.
It's on is it on YouTube? I've seen it before. I've seen it. I saw it years ago.
The film that was made, I swear, the one that was out last year.
Oh no, yeah, I was going to watch it. It was just not on here, was it?
No, I saw it on like an unlimited screen, and then I think it was released. Like it had a 1 week run, and it was on like 2 or 3 showings a day at most. So if you missed it, you missed it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was BBC.
Yeah. Right, my number 3 then, Stu, is When They See Us. Ava DuVernay, she wrote and directed the Central Park 5 case. Like she turned it into a humanistic story rather than the headlines of all of the stuff that was going on around it. The fact that it was 5 black youths, it was in New York, it was this rape case. They were pressured into giving this false confession, and she actually gave a voice to those lads rather than it being the voice of the victim in it. I think it was quite interesting because they were the victims of a miscarriage of justice rather than being victims of the crime itself. So that it's such a good job of providing more context. The performances were just staggering though. So the kid, Jarrell Jerome, he was the only one who didn't. He was the kid who was tried as an adult because I think he'd just turned 17. Yeah. So they kept the one young lad, whereas everyone else, they did a time jump. So he looked like he was older than the rest, and then all of a sudden he looked so much younger than the rest. And I thought that was such an interesting, clever way of doing it. And I think, much like Adolescence, this is one of those things that feels like it's going to stand the test of time. And again, it's like a big name, proper director who's done this. I think when Netflix hones in and gets the big names doing prestige TV, it can really work really well. And I think this is one of the best things I think they've done.
I completely forgot about this. I was thinking more of the. That's probably going to get mentioned next week. The trial of. But yeah, this was. I remember when we talked about it at the time. I didn't know anything about this story.
All right. Okay.
At all. Like it was completely new to me.
I suppose, I think it was. Is it late 80s? I think potentially.
Yeah.
And obviously, being an American story, it's not going to have quite the same reach as. Stories closer to home, like the Birmingham, the Irish guys, the Birmingham Six, was it, who were wrongly convicted and those kind of things that happened. So maybe just didn't have that cultural impact over here because it was so much older and it would have just missed us out.
Yeah, Bulger probably was the kind of James Bulger. Americans not going to know about that, are they?
Yeah, and that was probably like the biggest event in, especially like our adolescence, when it comes to crimes and stuff. That feels like that was the thing that everyone knew about, but you're probably right, it probably didn't cross over to the US. And I imagine, this would be the counterbalance to that. 1989 it was, so we would have been 6. So probably would have been far too young to really have known about it. What's your next one then, Stu? Your number 3.
My number 3 is, again, something that changed the world somehow. The Squid Game.
Forgot about Squid Game.
Oh, you can't forget about Squid Game. I mean, it's. I haven't seen. I don't want to either. Season 2/2.5/3. I never watched it. I thought you could just see how long ago it was made before it was picked up by Netflix, and just by how much older he is. Bizarre, really. But I thought it was genuinely something fresh and new. Squid Game, like I've never seen anything like it before, and yet getting full. I mean, obviously we've watched foreign language films and we've talked about foreign language films a lot on here, but to have something that is very foreign to be as popular as it was here and in America and in France as well, weirdly enough. But those are some of the stories at the time. It just generally it kind of proves that it doesn't really matter like what language things are in. If it's good, it's good. And Squid Game's not even that as what it is as a piece of TV. It's not wonderful. It's not a spectacle. It's not the best acting in the world. It just works. And there's just
Again,
something
the
about
writing's there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think the writing is so good in it that the fact it's a little bit hokey, you just completely buy into it. Because it makes it feel realer almost, I think.
Yeah. And yeah, it is basically the Running Man. But still.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing, it makes it all look a bit shit where he's living, which you don't kind of see from, especially South Korea. You want to big yourselves up, but no. I'm going to show you the bad parts and the comedy English people in it.
They're the only part that are shit. Because they're clearly not actors, or if they are, they're the worst actors they could find. But everyone else is wonderful in it.
I think that's what we said at the time, that they seem to be like the only English people they could find. And thinking, put them in it, no one care.
That's it. Season 2 and 3 are worth a watch, though, Stu. They're not bad. They're not needed, but they do complete a story. So if you were to watch them, it's not like it's going to end on a cliffhanger and you're going to be pissed off. It does tell the rest of the story. They're not particularly needed, but they are watchable, if nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to ever watch them. It was just, I thought, well, I've seen this now. It's not a huge priority of mine. But they are, when I was going down the ever increasing my list on there the other day, and I saw them, and I did delete, and when you untick it and tick it again, so it goes to the top of the list. Yeah, I did that. I did do that to it, just to put it in to refresh my memory that it was there. But yeah, I just thought it was everywhere. It was it was on bags. It was on lunch boxes. It was people going in the costume and fancy dress and Halloween, and something as simple as childhood games. When you had then actually turn it into a spin-off series of doing the challenges when not dying. Is that bizarre?
Yeah, yeah.
Like you had people eating biscuits as challenges. You had Jose Sarr and Huang eating biscuits on the Wolves YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Just craziness. It took over the world.
It did. It almost feels like, I think Parasite probably did it for us, like the people who are probably a bit more obsessed with film than they are TV. This was the next step in bringing, especially East Asian cinema and TV, to the mainstream.
Yeah.
Great TV show regardless. Just, as you said, there's a simplicity to it that just made it enthralling.
I'm trying to think what the last time there was a foreign language TV show that was actually shown in its, not adapted like Tunnel and The Bridge and all that stuff, Scandi adaptations, and an actual foreign TV show that was shown here that was like that. I can't think of anything.
The Scandi stuff did make an impact. The Nordic noir, as they called it, it did make an impact on almost on the mainstream. I think not quite, because as soon as it got too popular, like you said, we went from The Bridge to The Tunnel, didn't we? They did then adapt it to British speaking, so not quite, but yeah, Nordic noir was a bit of a big movement. Was it The Bridge, the one with the woman with the jumpers? Because I remember the jumpers being a big thing.
I can't
remember what they were called now.
I mean, it sounds like it should be like The Bridge. The Killing as well. That was a Scandi adaptation. Yeah,
it was The Killing. The woman with the jumpers. I remember that just being everywhere, and it became like a fashion thing, and it was just big, thick knit jumpers. But
yeah, because that was with first time I've seen Joel Kinnaman in anything, and he was good in that.
Wallander. That was quite big. I don't know how much of that was actually in foreign language because I never got around to seeing it, but that was...
Yeah.
Because I believe that was Swedish, but I don't know if it was foreign language in execution or what. But that does feel like that was the biggest movement, was around that time.
I mean, these are all for filmy people as well, though. Like people who like this stuff. Like, you're not getting Wallander lunchboxes in Asda.
No, that's true. That is true. But it does feel like, because now there's stuff like, is it Alice in Borderlands? There's a few, they look like there might be anime adaptations. I'm not 100% sure because it's not a world I'm particularly au fait with. But I do feel like the East Asian stuff, we are starting to see a lot more of that drip through now. which is quite interesting to see. Right, so my number 2 we're going to skip over because it's still to come, so we'll ignore that for now. Stu, your number 2.
My number 2 is, I mean, a lot of the I kind of made my own rules with this list.
You have to though, because there's so many to choose from.
And that's not a piss take either. Like, you all moan about Netflix all the time on here, and yet when we're going down this list, and there was legitimately about 25 that could have gone on it, and there's stuff. Well, we'll get to honourable mentions in a minute. So this was commissioned by Netflix. It was a Netflix show, so it's going on there as Better Call Saul. Superb, and the later series are equally as good as the last series of Breaking Bad. Not just me, go on IMDb, have a look yourselves. It's 10 out of 10 stuff. And obviously you've seen her in Pluribus now, you know what she's like, what she can do. Yeah. And you've got Bob Odenkirk, who's obviously more comedic generally. But with Better Call Saul being both a sequel and a prequel at the same time, the closer it gets to being a sequel is the best part. And she is... I'm not going to spoil it because she's just class from start to finish. She's the best thing about that series.
So does she pull focus? Does she start to become the main part of the show?
It could have been about her, yeah, easy. Because he's out pissing about, doing even more ridiculous things than he did in Breaking Bad, and obviously because his name's obviously not Saul Goodman. And you've got Tuco and you've got all the other kind of the characters. And when it gets more towards Breaking Bad, the first 2 series are kind of not great. So you do have to it's like, yeah, okay, we'll suffer through this when it tries to be something that it's not. But then when it merges back into that world again and you get closer to the Breaking Bad era, and they do it very well as well. It's not like everyone's got flat screen TVs, but it doesn't matter. It's like continuity. They do it well. Yeah, this is early 90s stuff. It's very clever. So it's almost like a period drama without needing to be. But it's very well done and it links perfectly with it. And I think it just is because it's more Breaking Bad without them two. People didn't really jump on it as much as they should do, but it's superb.
If you hadn't seen Breaking Bad, could you still watch Saul? No, because it's strange because it flips what's normal. Like the vast majority of every episode is in the past, and yet the stuff after he leaves at the end with the washing machine man or the vacuum cleaner man, yes,
is so he's there with his looking old with his glasses on and but that's in black and white.
Right.
So the future stuff's in black and white and the stuff in the past is in Technicolor. And it looks like Technicolor as well. It's like aged like the 90s. It's really good. But for that reason, you wouldn't get... It's almost like spoilery in a way as well. Like you don't want to... You wouldn't get anywhere near as much out of it without watching Breaking Bad first.
Fair. That makes sense. Okay, honourable mentions then. Baby Reindeer. We did a whole podcast on it. It was very good. It was a very raw, uncomfortable look at a man who was not of sound mind for great swathes of it, but whilst also being a victim of multiple people, but kept putting himself in that position. Like it was a real honest, difficult look at that man's life, and I thought it was excellent TV. And much like one of the things which you've alluded to, it sort of took over the world for a short period of time. So yeah, Baby Reindeer is one. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, she escaped a doomsday cult, and it was just a really high density joke comedy in the way that something like 30 Rock is. And obviously they're both Tina Fey written, and I adore Tina Fey, so this worked a lot for me. In the comedy world as well, I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson, which is a sketch show which doesn't always work for me. I find sketch shows can either be horrific or really good, and this is on the really good side. It's very socially awkward, a lot of cringe humour in there. completely unpredictable. Tim Robinson has now gone on to be a bit of a film star, and I think he's hot shit at the moment. The film he did with Paul Rudd last year was absolutely brilliant and well worth a watch. Great TV series. And the last one I wanted to mention was Carol and the End of the World, which is an animated series where the world knows that it's going to end. There is a meteorite heading for Earth called Kepler, I think it is. So obviously people are reacting differently because they all know that they've got 6 months to live. And Carol, in order to like get enough to get her through to the end, she starts working at a place which is just called The Distraction. I'm sure it's called The Distraction. So she's just doing a job, and it's not really a job because they're not doing anything. They just need a bit of structure to their lives. It's a really gentle but quite melancholic sci-fi with some really understated comedy to it. It's, for a show about the end of the world, it's surprisingly hopeful. It's really nice. I really enjoyed this.
Did you ever see, I think, is it called The End of the Fucking World?
Yeah.
Well,
The one with two youngish actors. Yeah, I did. I at least saw I've seen one season of it. I don't know if they did more after it, but I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah, I mean, that's Channel 4, so that doesn't care for this.
Yeah.
Which does make it kind of complicated because a lot of these things were like, does The Office now count because that's on there now and it lives on there? No, not really.
Yeah, there are some which are like dual productions with Netflix and other channels. Like, where would you sit on something like Black Mirror? Because obviously we had 3 seasons on Channel 4, but then seasons 4 onwards, they're all Netflix. So would that count? I don't know. That would probably be in condition for it for me, but I decided not to because it was too murky. But that would probably be up there for me.
I mean, that because of how it is, the quality's neither better or worse on Netflix. So I guess you could count the Netflix ones on their own thing, and obviously the game one, which in itself is a weird thing to exist.
Bandersnatch.
Yeah. I never did it again with different options, so I don't know. I just didn't did it the once. Yeah. Yeah, I did it once through, and that was enough for me. But that's how I play all them kind of games anyway, normally. But yeah, there's a few like that. I mean, I've got on mine like adaptations, like The Witcher. Obviously, it's the book adaptation and the game adaptation, and it could have been in here, but it's very hit and miss anyway. Like Castlevania and Devil May Cry, the animated ones, superb. Mindhunter was kind of feels like Glow though, because it was never really finished. Even though you could go back because they're solving obviously the crimes about people who people know about. The Ryan Murphy Monsters series is.
I only saw the Dharma, the first one.
The Brothers one, yeah.
Oh yeah, because there's that one, and there was the one.
There's
Gacy?
a newer one.
Did he do with John Wayne Gacy? Gacy, was it the killer clown?
He's not done. There is a Gacy documentary on there, but it's not a adaptation
not
like this.
Okay,
no.
Right.
There's a new one out there. There's 3 of them. I've only seen the first 2. I haven't seen the latest one. Yeah, because the second Monsters was about the killer brothers who killed their parents.
The Menendez brothers.
Yeah, that was fucked up. That one was. Did you ever watch Beef as well?
I didn't. I heard nothing but good about it, but never got round to it. And I think, have they done the second season yet?
I don't think so.
Because I'd heard that the next season of it was going to be about a complete different couple having beef. So it was going to be like an anthology kind of show rather than one couple throughout.
It was a great idea. It's very much your kind of thing.
Is it Stephen Yuen?
Yeah,
from Walking Dead. Yeah, I do like him. Yeah,
there's a lot of people in there that you'd know. TV alumni, and then I had a whole separate section of like Queer Eye. I love that show. It's the final one now. The final one's on there. I haven't bought myself to do it yet because I know I'm actually going to cry. It's like feel good TV, and it's been 10 years. And I'm not ready. But I've got the only loft Lego set is the Queer Eye set that I have over there. And it's just fun. It's just throwaway reality TV. Then you got the opposite thing, like Our Oceans, the one that's narrated by Obama.
Oh yes, yeah.
Just class, like very, very big budget nature documentary, which because I think we kind of swamped with them now, because we've got endless selections of things. Ones have to really stand out, and that one was very, very good.
Okay.
Especially if you're like showing off and you're watching it on a massive TV or video glasses or something like that. And the only other one, I mean, this, I was close to putting it in my top 5. But because it kind of, they added it to it and kind of diluted it a little bit, it kind of takes the edge off. But Making a Murderer is...
Well, that's not the one I was expecting you to say.
What was it?
I thought you was going to go for the other big batshit true crime story.
Oh, fucking Tiger King.
I thought that's where you were going to go. Okay.
Well, Tiger King is its own beast. I mean, Tiger King is one of the best things ever made ever, let alone on this list.
Yeah, like it's great fun. It's wonderful nonsense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched the first season and really enjoyed it. And then when they started to add shit on, I was like, I'm not watching that. Didn't feel like it was warranted. So I just didn't bother.
No, and considering it's still not finished either. So you'd think you'd wait until it's done. A bit like the second part of Tiger King as well. But that was just... You can't say no to that much money and that much attention, really, I guess.
Yeah.
But like, making Carol the worst person in the entire world.
Carol fucking Baskin, that bitch. Insane.
And him with his, just the stories of him, and they financially recover from this meme that goes around every day.
It does. 6 years later, and it's still incredible.
We mentioned it before in the past about would it still be if it wasn't lockdown times, and I think because it is so ridiculous, like Baby Reindeer, it would have broke through because. I think with that one, I started hearing about Baby Reindeer on podcasts. Things like Help I Sexted My Boss, so they were mentioning it on there. And then they were talking about it on Heart and things like that. And Heart Breakfast and Capital and all the kind of conversational stuff. And then when you get people on TalkSport mentioning it, you think, oh, okay, here we go. This is crossed over now. And Tiger King was... and you could just throw them in together. Tiger King and Making a Murderer both... crossed over from the true crime lunatics into this actually happens, and they were getting like presidential pardons and all this kind of stuff working, were they? And just insane, absolutely insane,
bonkers. One that I forgot about, and it was also pandemic times. The Last Dance. That was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
that's one of the best documentaries. I think that is probably the best documentary Netflix have done. Actually, thinking about it, obviously it's not in the true crime world, but that was incredible. 10 episodes, the entire career of Michael Jordan. Because obviously all their stuff that they'd got was from the 90s. Watching it, you wouldn't necessarily think that, like the quality that they managed to restore a lot of the footage with was just brilliant. And the whole story itself is kind of amazing. And it's another one that's kind of got memed, the fuck them kids, and stuff like that. That meme still exists out there. I'd completely forgot about it, but yeah, The Last Dance, which would have started May 2020, which I think was like a few weeks before this podcast started.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of the Netflix sport documentaries, like Quarterback. That's really good.
And Sunderland Until I Die.
Yeah, and Sunderland Until I Die. Well, yeah, because if we didn't have Sunderland Until I Die, then we wouldn't ever have had Wrexham being in the Championship, would we?
I mean, I could have lived without that, to be honest.
Look where they are. We ain't going to play them next year. You know what's happening. Just so that when Ash comes on here finally, as a permanent member, they're going to be a Premier League side.
It's going to be livid, absolutely livid. And
there is that stat as well that came out about teams with a W in their name.
What was that?
Like it's never happened Well, there's never ever been a top flight of English football without a team starting with W, ever.
And obviously there's ourselves and West Ham up for the chop.
Yeah.
I'd rather have no one with a W in there, I'll be honest. I just would. But yeah, the Netflix sports stuff is solid. It is good. And then I feel like them and ESPN, because obviously ESPN are a sports network, but they do such a good job with it, and they're of a similar standard, I feel.
Yeah. And that's one of the good things about being part of Disney as well, that we do get the ESPN stuff and the 30 for 30s on Disney Plus as well. Mm-hmm. So we don't miss them anymore.
Yeah, I've said before, but that O.J. Simpson Made in America is one of the best docuseries I've ever seen. It's like fucking 18 hours long, but it's brilliant. Because it covers his playing career and then his murdering career as well. It's just a shame obviously they're not going to have his death and stuff. But yeah, tremendous. Right then, our number ones. My number one is BoJack Horseman, which I think is one of the most sophisticated explorations of mental health I have ever seen. It delves into addiction and depression and anxiety and self-destructive behaviour of the character. It is a tough watch in parts. The view from halfway down is one of the most upsetting pieces of TV I've ever seen. And it's so weird because when it first started, it was kind of... I don't know if it was advertised as such, but it was kind of touted as... It's like Family Guy, except he's a horse and there's humans in here. And that's not at all what this show is. Look, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of funny parts in it. It is a very good comedy in its own right. But everything else on the other side, like the free churro monologue speech he does at his mom's funeral, is just some of the best acting I've ever seen. And it's like, I'd put it up there with, you know, Hamill's Joker and that sort of level of just excellence. Like, we kind of laud actors who can voice act because it's a proper skill that a lot of people don't seem to recognise as acting. We've said it before, but I think there should be an Oscar for voice acting. I think it's a real hidden secret. And Will Arnett as BoJack gives one of the best performances in any medium. It is absolutely magnificent. The writing in it is just... like, it's razor sharp in parts, and then it's bleak existentialism in other parts. You can be laughing and crying within the episode. It just does so much. It is absolutely amazing. And the finale sticks to the landing. Like, we started this talking about Game of Thrones not quite doing it. This does it. Like, one of my favourite lines in anything, they're talking about how shit life is, and they say, life's a bitch and then you die. But actually, that's not true. Life's a bitch and then you live. Like, you have to live on with all of the shit that life throws at you. I think that is such a wonderful thing. And then Todd, who is Aaron Paul, Jesse Pinkman, he says, he gives some advice to BoJack where he says, it's like the hokey pokey. You put your left leg in, your left leg out, and then you turn it all around. And he said, and that's the important part, is you have to turn it all around. And it's just like little things like that are so silly and fun, but mean so much when you actually break it down to a cellular level. BoJack is just fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, that's not what I thought BoJack was about. I think I watched the first one or two episodes, and it's that kind of scratchy animation style that I really don't like. So it kind of put me off. But and it was a bit like that nonsense that you made me watch as well, the Brothers thing. Oh
yeah. It's that sort of level of weirdness. Yeah. But there's so much more depth to this than there is that, haha, you clowns.
Yeah.
That was weird.
I think there's a nice little point there where you said Aaron Paul and then used his actual character name afterwards. Like, I wouldn't know who Aaron Paul is.
I was trying to straighten it in my head, to be fair. I couldn't quite remember the names, but yeah.
When a man has started in the Need for Speed film, you don't forget that name.
I'd forgot that, yeah. Dear me.
Never forget. I don't think Will Arnett gets anywhere near the amount of praise that he deserves in anything.
I love Will Arnett.
He might now.
Yeah, he gives a top tier performance. Have you seen it yet?
No, not yet. I was going to see it tomorrow.
Sad.
If I get time.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. And he gives he was on the Ramesh Ranganathan podcast, I've mentioned it before, and he talks about how people compare everything he does to BoJack. And he said, well, that's because we've got the same voice. And it makes sense, but there are bits that are quite self-deprecating that you could almost imagine BoJack saying. So, there are elements. I think if you enjoy it, give BoJack a proper chance, because there's more to it than, as I say, it's not Family Guy with a horse. And I think that's sort of what it was presented as originally. And it's nowhere near that. Nowhere near that. And Dolan will agree with me as well when he's back on, because, he loves that too. Okay, so my number 2 and your number 1 then, Stu.
Let me just go back and listen to last week. Biggest show of the last 15 years, full stop, Stranger Things. I don't want to talk about it for another hour. All I've seen is articles on 11 is back, because it's referencing that animated thing. Which I'll obviously watch, because why wouldn't I? It's strangely intrigued now to see the play, but that's probably never ever going to happen. But I have got the VR game as well. I've just never played it. But where you play as Vecna and that, and you go your little hands. So I don't. It's more of an experience. It was £8, so I can't imagine it's very long. But it's like, okay, I need to step away from Stranger Things. That last season was very intense and superb. But talking about it again, you start off exactly the same as we did last week, and look how long that was. I think it's one of the best. It's one of the best things ever. The money talks. You wouldn't have got that made anywhere else. Even I think HBO would have made that, because it is a bit mental, even for them. Perfect home for it. Perfect budget, everything. Superb.
Yeah, I can't really add anything. We spoke a lot about it last week, so it seems pointless retreading it, but it is one of the biggest shows of all time, isn't it? I think it's unquestionably something that has broke the mold. If you can put it in with Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, Sopranos, The Wire, I can't think of any other shows that really stack up to it. At its peak, The Walking Dead was massive, but I don't think the lore of The Walking Dead is so deep that that drags it down beyond it. Lost its way. I don't think you can stack that up against it. I mean, you're one of the few to say that. And the fact that it is so divisive kind of speaks to why it isn't... Because it wasn't even divisive just because of the ending. Because of the whole show, it never really... the people who loved it really loved it. But there's a lot of people, like myself, who just got tired of the nonsense with it.
The thing with Lost, it suffered very much from what we were talking about earlier with the Paddy's episodes. And then you had characters introduced for one episode and then died in the same episode. It's like a bit wasting everyone's time.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. I kind of wondered if I could find a potted version of Lost, if there were just episodes that you could watch without the filler. So could you get through season 1 in 5 or 6 episodes? There's got to be a way, because there's some real shit in there that was just unnecessary. Especially when the storylines that don't pay off, they can just be ignored if there's episodes around that.
You could probably... I don't think you could do it like that. You could probably go back... Like with X-Files, you could just do the alien storyline. But they're not necessarily in episodes on their own. There's parts of one and things like that. So it would have to be edited down and cut together. Without, you're always going to miss something if you do that kind of thing. But I mean, I haven't done it. I haven't watched it again since it finished. Well, but I remember when it finished and that end scene, and I thought, I'm only ever going to watch this twice again in my entire life. That was where I thought at the time. That was God knows how long ago.
Yeah,
and I thought that's probably right. I thought I'm going to watch it in the next few years, and then what am I going to do then? Watch it when I'm retired? So, you need 20 years between
retirement already.
Yeah, I mean, well, in my old bones.
I wonder, because there used to be a website called Fan Edit, and they've done the whole prequel trilogy of Star Wars. They've like condensed it into 6 hours, or not even that, like maybe 4 hours, cutting out lots of the chaff. I wonder if they've done something for Lost, because that could be quite an interesting one, where they've gone through each episode and just taken out the important bits. So if there's something out there like that, that might be worth finding.
I mean, you know, with the you mentioned it earlier, with there's that specific channels on YouTube where they just do recaps of seasons. Oh, they do like God's work, them things. And it's kind of cool how the networks just leave them alone as well, because they're just clearly using clips without permission. But it works for everyone, because obviously they're not going to put out these recaps, and they're going to go through and do narrations of it, especially with a lot of things like Yellow Jackets, which again you still haven't seen. And when it eventually ends, everyone will say it's the best thing ever. I've been saying this since the first episode. I've been saying this. It'll get second life like Manifested, but that was more of an in joke. Once that ends, if it nails a landing with that show, it will be up there with like Serenity.
Okay. Here you go. I'm just on that funedit.org website. The Lord of the Rings, The Ring Bearer Cut. The original movie, so it cuts together Fellowship, Return and Two Towers and brings it down to 176 minutes. This edit focuses on the journey of Frodo and Sam and the destruction of the One Ring, while Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, Gandalf and the rest of the Fellowship are present for roughly half of the film. Once Frodo and Sam split off, we don't see them again until the very end. This is not really what meant to improve the film. It's just something to focus on the characters. So this website's got loads of stuff like this. Superman 2, The Light for Humanity, and it's cutting together Superman 2, 3 and 4, The Quest for Peace, and it's just over 2 hours long. So it's fans who just want to give something a little bit different or give a different view of something. And if they've done a Lost one, I need to watch that. But yeah, I've watched a couple of bits of the Star Wars cuts that they've done before, and they are pretty good. They're worth a watch.
Oh, there's something like this when I ordered that Thunderbird 60 year anniversary Blu-ray box set.
Yeah.
In September of last year. And now it's still not here. But again, to be fair, they've gone back and painstakingly recovered it all from not the original film, because it doesn't exist anymore. But they had, like, the guy put from the Anderson website, he put a little thing on, and there was a proper. It took about 10 minutes to read it all. It was that detailed about what they've done and everything. Okay. And they said because what had happened was it was broke. The things that they got sent over from ITV were 25 frames per second, not 24.
Okay. Oh well, so, but that would make a real difference. That'd be a real pain in the arse.
So all the speech was and the sound was all fucked. They had to get everything down to the proper speed, and then they had to go back in and get remove blemishes on the image and everything like that. Like, strange purple blobs that they didn't know what they were, because they're not the original transfers. They're just transfers of the originals from years ago.
Okay.
So they're as close as they can possibly get to the originals without having them. And obviously all the puppets are destroyed mostly. Because they're fiberglass and they're not designed to last that long. And so when they've gone into it and they've said, they've put the original mono sound on there, as well as the 5.1 mix that were done for the DVDs. But again, they had to put them all back to 24 rather than 25. And there's things in there that people were moaning because they hadn't got cuts and everything, and they've used footage from something that I'd never heard of before. There was these 2 DVDs released where they spliced 3 episodes of Thunderbirds together to make a film.
Okay.
Using different stories.
That's incredible.
And released it.
That's legitimately.
But that actually, I think Super Theatre or something like that it's called. Thunderbird Super Theatre, something like that. I thought, I've never heard anything like that before. And then there's all these fan websites that are doing exactly that.
Incredible.
But update, Thunderbird's 60th anniversary box set will be here soon. So 186 hours.
Yeah, apparently I found some lost ones, lost condensed, lost circle. So there is stuff out there, an abridged version of Lost, which might be better watching. So it's like a season in 4 hours rather than 24 episodes.
Matt, are you gonna
I'm
like
more
this?
likely to watch that than I am 100 odd episodes of it, when I know I'm going to get annoyed for big fucking swathes of the episodes. Right, okay. Up next will be the short film review. Welcome back. So this week, Stuart, we have had to watch 2018's Lost and Found. Lost and Found is a stop-motion tearjerker about a knitted dinosaur who discovers his partner, a knitted fox, has fallen into a deep pit. To save her, he must sacrifice himself. 60 seconds to give it a review. Let me pull up my timer. It would help if I'd got this ready, wouldn't it? That would be a much more sensible thing to do. Okay. When you're ready, go.
There were 2 games released by EA that were called Unravel that were about this knitted character jumping around. 2D, it looked incredible. This is the short film version of them games. It's about friendship. It's about consequences of friendship and love. It's got nostalgia. There's a Nokia 3310 in the background. I didn't know if it was stop motion or if it was CG or a blend of both, because I've never seen anything quite like this before. It's almost photorealistic. It's absolutely incredible. Going in, didn't know anything about it, and yet came away quite gutted yet again after last week. It's done me over.
You did well there. That was like 40 seconds, Stu.
I bullet pointed it this time. I thought, no.
Oh, okay.
I know what I need to say. I'm not padding it out.
I suppose I didn't give you fair warning last time, but yeah, you're probably right. I think that's the best way to do it. Right, okay, so 60 seconds for myself. So this is a short film, heartbreaking, about 2 knitted toys, a dinosaur and a fox, living in a tiny handmade world. When the fox falls into a pit, the dinosaur tries to pull her out, only to realise the only way to save her is to unravel himself stitch by stitch. It is a wordless fable about love, about sacrifice, and the quiet brutality of doing everything right, even though it may cost you the world. The animation is gorgeous. Every frame, it feels real, like you said, Stu. It's tactile. Every moment feels fragile. The unraveling effect, it's beautiful and sad. And just like, it's pure visual storytelling that sneaks up on you and he just punches you in the gut at the end. It's sweet. It's devastating. It's the perfect example of why short films can say more in 5 minutes than feature-length films can in 2 hours. It was concise and it was perfect. And that was 56 seconds. Did you enjoy it then? I'm taking it, Stu.
Oh, yeah. Like going into, like I did last week, and like, I'm going to continue as much as possible with these things, not know anything about them whatsoever. So like, as soon as it fell down in the water, I thought, oh no, and his little tail was wagging. I thought, oh, he can't stand, and I was getting quite worried. And then you saw you see the little screw. Oh dear! And you obviously know what's going to happen here. And when it goes all the way to his eye going, and then you at the end of trying to put it back together, and then it failing, and I thought, oh no.
Yeah, like it does bring a tear to the eye. It's the bit where the fox tries to stop him from coming because the fox knows that it will be his death. And then he breaks through the wall, and I'm like, oh God, I just thought it was beautiful. Such a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's available on Netflix. The link will be in the description of the episode. I wholeheartedly think you should spend 7 minutes. I think it's on for, like, it's 7 minutes worth watching. Right, the final part of the pod. We're back on the cruise train. Cruise car? I don't know. We're back with Tom Cruise. We're back with Thomas Cruise, looking at Taps from 1981. I'd never heard of this film, and considering it's Tom Cruise and Sean Penn and Hutton, who's like, if you look at his career, especially over the last sort of decade or so, Stu, you'll see that he's done a lot of TV work that you will recognise. Like, he's quite a recognisable face that I didn't particularly know. So there's enough people in this that I'm surprised that I'd never heard of it before. Timothy Hutton, his name is. Sorry, I was going to say Robert for some reason. But yeah, like he was in SWAT. He was in How to Get Away with Murder, The Haunting of Hill House, Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan. Like he's done a shitload of stuff. So I'm kind of surprised that I was completely unaware of this film. What did you think?
I mean, when we looked at the premise of it last week and we did the post, I thought, oh, this is going to be a great old time. And I think the lack of soundtrack did not help it for me.
That's a good point.
It was fucking boring. And it's military shit. I laugh this off normally. I
really thought, I'm kind of surprised you didn't enjoy it, because it does feel like it's ticking some of the boxes I'd expect.
I mean, from the accuracy in terms of what you kind of gather with these things, I thought a lot of it was pretty good, to be fair. And looking at the IMDb trivia, they did a lot of actual work, and they did like boot camps and stuff to kind of get in shape. And you could tell that, especially like the bit with the twisting with the guns in the hallway and things like that. And you can't just act this; you've got to do it properly. And so you kind of completely buy the fact that they are cadets and that they are in this thing. And the bit where the one of them gets blasted to pieces like Mr. Kinney by Ed 209 in RoboCop.
Yeah.
That was shocking.
Yeah.
Thought, no way. I mean, it's just fucking, he's dead on the floor, kid, with his little hand. But yeah, I thought, and here you've got, I didn't see like how it escalates. I didn't see it coming. The general shooting the scallywag straight away. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to be pretty thick in here to go and intimidate some army cadets in the first place. So he kind of deserved to die. But to go from that, I thought it was going to be a lot more like light-hearted, I guess. Well, I wasn't expecting Police Academy, but I thought this is going to be
but not far off. That's where I thought we were going. I thought it was going to be like a bit of a light-hearted romp, and it just wasn't.
Yeah, and you look at the poster, and the poster does not say, this is depressing as fuck. And let's say Sean Penn being a little bitch again.
Yeah.
Like every single film. Every single one. I don't know what it is with him. Like, he's obviously... this is his thing. And politics aside, as always, he just seems to be typecasting this kind of role from a very early start. And
Well, this is his first film.
yeah, exactly. This is what I mean. He started as he's meant to go on. He never changed. But yeah, I thought Tom Cruise, again, we'll get to that in a bit, I thought was good.
Yeah.
Early signs again. But yeah, I think it was very slow in the middle. I think that was the problem with it, and it kind of just lost me. And when you go into the big shootout at the end, I thought that kind of brought me back, and then you get the end, which was a bit, what's happened here?
Yeah, I know what you mean. So, like, I think I admired the film more than I enjoyed it. Like, it.
Yeah, that's fair.
For me, it took too long to get going. I felt like the start there was a lot of preamble, and then all of a sudden the kid gets shot. You know, what the fuck's going on? Because, like I said, it sort of starts off with there's a lot of stuff going on. This kid gets promoted to top boy or whatever the fuck it is, and then they find out the school is going to get shut down. And you think, oh, okay, so they're going to try and stop these people coming in and taking their school. And it's going to be a little bit funny or something to that effect. And it just isn't. Like, there's no humour to this film whatsoever. And that really surprised me, because from what I could tell, it was pitched at like a teenage audience. And it didn't do that. And I feel like that meant the film didn't quite know what it wanted to be. So it was a coming-of-age drama, or was it a political thriller, or was it an ethics of war, or was it a tragedy? And it was both patriotic and anti-patriotism. It just did too much, and it felt quite unfocused because of it, I thought.
Yeah, because you had the bit with it where they're driving the Land Rover things, and when it breaks down, it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just looking inside. You think, well, yeah, this is like the whole film. Like, you don't know what you're doing. Like you are. I mean, that's what I thought it was in the end. It was like, yeah, this is war is stupid. We don't need these things anymore. Why has an academy got live ammunition and blah 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 blah. And if I'd have gone in knowing that, I would have kind of prepared myself a bit better. to expect something of that kind, but then not getting any comedy at all, not even like barely even a smile. Like when they're taking a piss out of each other in the showers, that's the funniest part about the whole film.
And there's really not much in that at all, is there? But I do think that is one of the themes it touched on, that the fact that these are all young men who have been sucked in by lies of obedience. You know, it's all about the intoxicating law of militarism and authoritarianism. There are some themes that I think this explores that, if it was done better, I'd have quite enjoyed it. It's very much about the dangers of nostalgia, how they lionise the chief guy who has the heart attack, the one who shoots the kid at the beginning. Like, they lionise him for his heroic acts, even though they weren't there and those times didn't really exist for them. Like, as someone who doesn't really dig nostalgia all that much, I liked the fact that that was what they were getting at. It had this ambiguous ending, which again, I normally like that kind of stuff. They shot a lot of children. That's usually pretty funny, if nothing else, but it just didn't work. It just didn't work. Weirdly, the ending was supposed to be even darker than it was. So the original script had more of the boys being killed in the final assault, and it was supposed to be a massacre. Like, it wasn't an assault on the school to liberate it. It was a massacre of the kids. Pretty much all of them died. Timothy Hutton's character, he dies, but obviously it makes more sense to have him live and have to live with the consequences of his decisions. That makes sense. Killing him would have made no sense, in fairness. David Shawn, so Cruise's character, he was supposed to have a much more violent, long and graphic ending than what he did. It was changed when the studio thought the dead kids would be unmarketable, and it was too anti-military and too bleak for a teen audience. So they really were pitching it at teenagers, and it missed its mark for me in those terms. I do feel like it's weirdly prophetic, though. Like, it's about young men radicalising themselves, about a charismatic leader pulling them into extremism, a rigid, outdated institution failing them, and like tragedy born of nostalgic feelings for a world which never existed, the murder of innocent people by government bodies. It's weirdly fucking prescient for 2026. I just wish it was a bit better.
Remember when we had this with, what film was it we talked about last year that was like this? And we said, it's more spot on now than it was at the time.
Was it Champagne and Bullets?
I mean, that's a timeless epic.
It's wonderful.
It was probably Running Man.
Yes, I think it was. Yeah,
but yeah, you are right. It's especially within the Minnesota stuff, and it is. I mean, you look at the difference. I mean, what was this? 81.
Yeah.
So 6 years removed, not that long. So I just don't. When we've watched things like this, like when we watched the Cage one of the early Cage ones, about him being called up, and
yes, Racing with the Moon. No,
yeah,
not Racing.
Yeah.
Is it Racing? Yeah, it was. Yeah.
How that was when that was made, it was not that far removed from the war itself. And then you look at this, and you kind of similar kind of time frame, and they're very different approaches to it. Whereas that was like, yeah, it's not ideal, but you kind of have to go. This was like, you've all been brainwashed. You're all insane.
Racing with the Moon, 1984, so 3 years after this, also starring Sean Penn.
Yeah, as a bitch.
I enjoyed that. That was a good fucking film, that was. Like, really surprised me how much I enjoyed that in the end. So this film, as I said, it launched 3 careers, Timothy Hutton being the lesser known of the 3, but also TC, Sean Penn get their first film roles, or second film role in Tom Cruise's case, but like, it's a promotion for him, because obviously in the first film he's very like incidental, whereas he's supporting here. Like, he's quite a crucial character in this film. So like, it's a big step up for him in terms of his career, which in his second film I think he's quite mental. Like, that is bonkers, isn't it, to get such a big role so early doors. And
according to IMDb trivia, it wasn't intentional either. They just promoted him on the spot because he was better than the rest.
Yeah. I've got it written down here in one of the segments. So I've got a new segment, Cruise doing Cruise things. So these are stunts or tropes that you associate with Tom Cruise. And one of them being that this is the director saw him, who came in to do just an incidental role, like a supporting actor, but he came in with such intensity that Scott gave him the larger role of David Shawn. And apparently Cruise didn't want it at first. Like, he had to consider taking this role. And it ended up being pivotal for him, this role, because the director then pulled him in and would let them watch the daily rushes. So, like, what they filmed during the day, he was bringing him in to give him this look behind the scenes that a lot of actors, especially 18, 19-year-olds, don't get that. And I think that intensity that Tom took from this, we then see, as we go on with his career, how he becomes much more involved in the creation of it. Like, he's not just an actor. I think probably from towards the late 80s onwards, he becomes the focal point of everything. And I think he learned the importance of it on this film, from what I can tell. Like, I've heard a few interviews and stuff where he's mentioned it, and he seems to hold this film in quite high regard, surprisingly, in his development as an actor. Does he run? He marches, but I don't remember any running as such.
On the stairs?
Yeah, he does. He runs down the stairs at the beginning, doesn't he? When he sees him. Yeah, he does. Did he take his shirt off, Stu?
In the showers, yes.
In the showers. We get a shower scene, early doors. So that's 2 for 2 on both accounts. But does he wear sunglasses? I don't remember any sunglasses.
Military, not allowed.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, he falls down on that one.
But is it sunglasses or atonement or attire? He wears a beret.
He does wear a beret. She's just appalling. Explosions. We get a semi-decent explosion when one of the cadets gets set alight. There's a few pretty good shootouts as well. For a drama, there's more action than I would have anticipated in this. I like more quite hard-hitting action as well. Which is
why I was kind of saying earlier that it doesn't deserve to feel as slow as it is. Like, all it needed was I'm saying some drum and bass underneath it or something, or some constant marching noise that you get for the start and the end. But, you know, a bit of ambient noise, just something to tick over rather than just absolute silence.
Yeah.
Just kind of takes you out of it a bit, considering where it goes and where it comes back from.
And knocked 20 minutes off because it was a bit too long. It didn't need to be 2 hours 10, I think it was, or 2 hours 5, something like that. But yeah, too long. Cruise doing Cruise things. Any other tropes or stunts? We get the rooftop machine gun scene. Apparently, even as a teen, he told them, I want to do all of the machine gunning as much as you will let me do. So, like, even as a kid, he's like, yeah, I'm doing all of this. My stunts are mine. Nobody's doing it. That's amazing. And, like, his eyes throughout this, he's got such intense, fiery eyes throughout it that, again, I feel like we kind of see that intensity in a lot of films going on. So I do feel like this might be quite a formative performance in his terms. Anything else you noticed? There's
the charisma again, either the obvious charisma, and yet this is a film sans woman. For other than the few that attend the gala before the shooting, which like when when he's checking this out, done well. So yeah, military men of the 80s, superb.
Yeah.
But yeah, considering he's just one of the lads, you can see, he's got the swagger again. Set 2 films in.
Yeah, he stands out. He's always the largest on screen, just always. But he pulls focus every time. Big 3 award count. So this was nominated for a Golden Globe. Timothy Hutton was nominated for Best Actor in a Motion Picture in the drama category. He lost to Henry Fonda for On Golden Pond. Fonda also won the Oscars that year. So that's 2 Cruise films, 2 nominations at big award ceremonies. No Razzies this time. I don't think it's outright bad in the way that last week's had a few stinkers. This is boring, whereas there was like outright shitness to last week, I think, in parts.
Yeah.
So I sort of get it. The critical response on this one, Stu. So it's kind of mixed. Roger Ebert from the Chicago Sun taps works on an uncommonly engrossing story, primarily because of the performances, which are so well done. Vincent Canby of the New York Times, considering the dreary circumstances, the performances are quite good, especially those of Mr. Scott, Timothy Hutton and Sean Penn. Like I say, that it's generally pretty split in terms of actual quality of the film, but the vast majority of people do praise how good the young cast is throughout the movie, and I think that's quite reasonable. Actually, I think the cast were the best thing about it. In fairness,
Yeah. There's, like you just said, there's no standout terrible performances in it. It's not to do with that. It's more to do with probably the editing more than anything else.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So the budget and box office then. So this was $14 million to produce, and it garnered $35.8 million. So it's another absolute fucking smash success, surprisingly. Like last week for Endless Love, we had $32.5 million against a 9.7 budget. So his batting average off his first two films alone, he's trebled almost trebled it this time. Yeah, just incredible. Absolutely incredible work. Cage or Cruise?
It would have been very different film, wouldn't it? It would have been Psychopath. You got to say they got it right, Cruise?
Yeah, I think so. I think, especially 1981 Cage, I don't think he's got the chops for it. Like, I don't think he has the chops for it until probably the 90s. And even if you were to take a more mature Cage at that point, it's going to be bordering on comedic. And I think with Cruise's character, like, he's never the comedy in this. So I don't. Cruise is 100% the correct one. So is Cruise the saviour of cinema or just another cinema stew?
And again, it's the same answer as last week. He's good in this film without needing to be. So yeah, saviour again.
Yeah, I think he's the saviour. He plays a fanaticist in this. Like, he's a boy who becomes obsessed, but he wasn't played as being an idiot for it. Like, he's not an idiot because he's been brainwashed. His death was given weight of tragedy, and I thought his performance was top tier. So yeah, saviour, 100%. If you enjoyed Taps, you may also like. What have you got, Stu?
I mean, there's an obvious one that we'll get to in a few weeks' time in Top Gun, but because you think that there's not many like military academy films that I can even think of, like the top of my head. Like, a lot of it is like later on, like bros together kind of thing, kind of stuff like that. I mean, I mentioned it already, but if you want something like this, which I thought we kind of going to get anyway, go and watch all 7 Police Academy films, and not on a bank holiday, which is the rules.
Now, there's 2 that sprang to my mind. The first one was Nick Cage's The Rock, because it just kind of feels like, obviously, they were an army of people who felt that they'd been wronged done by the government. So I see some parallels with that. But the one that sprang to mind initially, have you ever seen Toy Soldiers from 1991? Sean Astin, Will Wheaton. It's a film where they're at a boarding school and a group of terrorists descend on this boarding school.
No.
And the kids from the inside have to fight back. It's really, well, I say it's really good. I remember it being really good when I saw it in the 90s. I don't know how it's aged, but it's a very similar premise. And I kind of want to see it again now. And it's going to be weird seeing Sean Astin play like a young man fighting back against the army. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work, but I'm quite interested to see how it holds up.
I mean, this is Sean Astin just straight out of Goonies again.
Well, I mean, when was Goonies? 82?
So it's later than that.
Is it later than that?
Well, she was about 86.
Oh, 85. Right, okay. So we're looking at 6 years later for this one, but like, you can tell that he's older looking at the images of it. But yeah, I kind of want to watch it, and I feel like you'd probably enjoy the silliness of it. But again, like, it's been such a long time since I've seen it that it may not hold up, but I think it'd be worth a watch regardless.
No, for a couple of seconds there, I was thinking of Small Soldiers.
No, it's not Small Soldiers. It's a very different film to that one. Yeah. Right then, so next week, Stuart, what have we got in the bag. So we'll be doing our Netflix Originals Top 5 Films. I'm looking forward to seeing what more is we're going to uncover, because we did end up finding a few things that I just completely had overlooked this week, and there's bound to be plenty of those in the film category. For the short film review, we're watching Oak Thorn and the Old Rose of Love from 2022. The reason being, it's Jackie Earle Haley, who is also in the Tom Cruise film that we're watching next week, which is called Losing It from 1982. I haven't seen either of these films, so if they're awful, don't blame me. We'll see how it goes. So Losing It, as I said, it's from 1982. It looks as though Tom Cruise is actually going to be the lead in this film, because he's the first name mentioned on IMDb. So that's something. Set in 1965, 4 rowdy teenage guys travel to Tijuana, Mexico for a night of partying when they are joined by a heartbroken housewife who is in town seeking a quick divorce. This doesn't sound like the kind of thing I associate with Tom Cruise, but we will see how it goes. It's got Tom Cruise, Jackie Earle Haley, Shelley Long is in it. I don't recognise any of the other names. It is directed by Curtis Hanson. He did LA Confidential, In Her Shoes, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. He's got a few named films. So yeah, I have no idea what to expect with this, but knowing what other stuff he's done, it might not be awful. It might not be awful. It might be horrendous for all we know. But I have a little bit more faith in early Cruise, having seen what we've seen, that he seems to be heading in the right direction at least. So we'll see how that goes. As I said, for Jackie Earle Haley, we'll be watching the short film Oak Thorn and the Old Rose of Love. It just says it's a 20-minute film. It does not tell me any details about this one. So we will see how that goes. I will attach the link in the podcast description for this week's episode for Lost and Found. I will put in next week's as well for this movie. So we'll see how that goes. Make sure you've got us on your podcast or whatever podcatcher that you listen to us on. If you could leave us a review, that would be really fucking useful. I'll be honest, we need more. It'd be brilliant. Get in contact with us at cagefightingpod and cagefightingpod@gmail.com. For this week, Stu, do you want to say goodbye?
Put the guns down. Goodbye.
It's goodbye from me too. And remember, be excellent to each other.